Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Rebels Tutorials. Okay, now today we are going to be making a flare dress with yoke and a bishop sleeve. All right, I've spread out my fabric on the ground as you can see, and I folded it on bias in a triangular form. Okay, I'll have to use a piece of paper to illustrate it for us later so that you can actually see the way I folded the fabric. Now if you can see, you notice I've already marked out my chalk line here from the point where my triangle started. I measured 12 inches down, and the 12 inches was gotten from the round upper bust, which was 38.5 inches, divided by 3.14. It's not going to be a full circle dress, it's just going to be semicircle dress. So 38.5 divided by 3.14, I got 12 inches, which I have to measure from here to here. So the length of the yoke is going to be 7 inches. So I deducted 7 inches, placed my tape this way, 7 inches, then I got the full length of the dress, which is 40 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance. So I went ahead to measure it round 42 inches from the beginning point of my fold to this other end. You can see the way it is curved. Now I'll cut this out and use it to cut the back piece. Okay, now I'm going to cut the back. It's not going to have zip, but I'll be attaching a button for ease so that it doesn't cause them much difficulty when the client wants to wear it. So I refolded my fabric in a bias form, in a triangular form. Then I placed the one I cut out before. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. The button allowance is just about 1 inch. Just 1 inch for the button allowance. Okay, now we are going to cut the upper part of this dress. That's the yoke part, and I'll be working with 7 inches yoke from the shoulder. Like I said, I'll be showing us how I cut the down part because I know it wasn't so clear while I was doing it on the floor. The table couldn't accommodate it. All right, you can see the marked line already. That's the shoulder line. Her shoulder is 16 inches divided by 2. I have 16 inches divided by 2. I have 8 inches. Then I usually add ½ inch for sleeve allowance. Okay, then I'll come down by 7 inches for the yoke. But just to enable me get the armhole curve, I'll still go ahead and mark the usual. I usually use 9 inches for my armhole. So I'm using my straight ruler to connect the lines. Now this is serving as the upper chest or the chest area, while this is serving as the bust area, the bust point. My shoulder 8 inches plus ½ inch for sleeve allowance. I have 8.5, which I'm going to take down the bust line. I'll make a straight line. So the next measurement I'll be placing here is going to be the bust measurement divided by 4. The bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, the bust measurement is 38.5 divided by 4. I had 9.6. Then I added extra 1.5 inches sewing allowance, which is giving me 11.1. So I'll be taking 11. Don't forget, my fabric is a stretchy fabric. The excess of the allowance is just to give her some space in case she needs some kind of adjustment. So I'm going to mark the neckline. It's going to be a turtleneck dress. So the neckline I'll be working with for the front, I'll have 3 by 3 for the front. And for the back, I'll be working with 3 by 1 or 1 1/4. I'll go ahead and use my curved ruler to connect. This is for the front neckline, and this is for the back neckline. So on my armhole line, I'll be coming down by 1 inch to determine my shoulder slope, which I'll connect to the neckline. So I'm going to measure back my 7 inches, which is the actual measurement I need for the yoke. Now I'll make my curve to get my armhole. For both front and back armholes. Right, so this is what we have now. I'll go ahead and cut. I'll be cutting out the back neckline first. And the back armhole also. So the reason why I added the shoulder to bust area is just to enable me get this curve. So now I'm going to cut out from where I want my yoke to be. So I'm bringing this other line to my center of foot. So this is my yoke measurement from the neck, from the shoulder line to 7 inches from the shoulder line. That is beneath the shoulder slope. If I should add the shoulder slope, it's going to be 6 inches, but I want it to be 7 inches. Okay, so this is going to be my yoke. By the time I join it to the flay part of the dress, then I can make a normal curve to give me the accurate armhole curve. Okay, now for the flay part of the dress, like I was showing us on the floor, I know it wasn't clear. I folded the fabric on bias using the upper chest measurement, that is the chest measurement, which is also 38 inches 0.5 divided by 3.14. 3.14 because it's not going to be a circle flay, it's going to be a semicircle flay. So I folded just one this way on bias in a triangular form like this. So the 38.5 divided by 3.14, yes, gave me 12 inches, which I measured from here, from the beginning of my triangle tape. So I took it round. So I'm assuming this 3 inches is the 12 inches I used to cut. I'm just showing us how I achieved that shape. So the upper bust measurement is 38 inches. Because I am cutting a semicircle, I divided by 3.14. So what it gave me, I started measuring from the beginning of my fold. Then I measured round, all the way round, as if I am making a radius. All right, now the next thing I did to get the full length of the gown was to deduct the 7 inches excuse me, I'm using for the upper part, the one I just finished cutting. I'm actually going to use this and cut the lace fabric, which is going to be at the top of the dress. So it's 7 inches. I had to remove 7 inches from the full length or the entire length of the fabric. Then here the full length is 40 inches. I added 1 inch for sewing allowance, making it 41 inch. So I'm assuming this 14 to be my 41 inch. So I'm also going to connect this line. So I have something that looks like this. So I'm just showing us so that we understand better how I cut the down part of the fabric. So you go ahead and cut out this shape. So if you have enough fabric, you can make a fold of 4, and then you fold into 4, then also place it on bias. It will also give you a fuller circle. Okay, so after I cut out the first flay, I folded my fabric again and placed the one I cut out on top, leaving about 1 inch allowance for the button. It's not going to have zip, so I just left an inch allowance for the button, and I also cut out the second flay for the back. All right, now let's go ahead and cut out the yoke from our lace fabric. Okay, you can see I've pinned the pattern I cut out for the yoke on my lace fabric, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out, but I'll be adding 1/2 inch seam allowance, which I'll use to join the yoke to the down part of the dress, that is the flame. So I'm cutting out the back neck line first. The back armhole. Remember, I added 1/2 inch for joining allowance. Okay, so this is for the back. So I'll go ahead and use my lace fabric This can actually serve as a front since we did not add the button allowance to the pattern. So I'm using it as a front. When I'm done, I'll place the pattern paper on it, then cut out the front armhole. Right now I have my front and back piece, so I'll keep the back aside, place the pattern on the front piece again, and cut out the front neckline. So I'm going ahead to cut my front neckline. And also my front armhole. Now I can remove my pattern and also slit the back. So I now have my front and back yoke together. You can double it if you want, but I will not be doubling it because it's also going to have a neck, a kind of turtleneck attached to it, and I will do that after joining the yoke to the back and the front flay. Now to join the lace to my flay. I'm going to fold my flay into two and notch the center, and also pick the front piece of my lace, fold it into two, and also notch the center. So the notches are going to enable me know the center of both pieces. So I'm going to pin it on the notched point. So after pinning, I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and join it with 1/2 inch seam allowance, the seam allowance we added to the lace fabric. So I'll do this for the front and also for the back. Okay, I'm done joining the yoke to the front piece. So I'm just taking out my pins. If you're new to our channel, we actually have a video on this, how to make a yoke blouse with gathers. I'll leave the link to the video in the description box so that you can see how I made this, but this one is without gathers. So this is how it looks. This is the front part. I don't know if you can see it. So this is the front. I'm also going to join the back to the back flay. Okay, this is the back. I'm done joining the back to actually close up the button allowance after I'll open it back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and join the back and the front piece together. So I'll be placing it front piece, the right sides together, then I'll sew the shoulder both sides, then I'll come back and measure the neck and cut out the turtleneck or the band for the neck. Okay, now I want to cut the neck band, and this is how I prefer to cut mine. Now my paper is placed on fold this way, so I had to match the shoulder of my fabric, both the back and the front. You can use a pin and hold it down and hold the neck with your pin down. Then I'm going to place it on top of my paper and also pin it round. So after pinning, I'll go ahead and use my marker and trace out the neckline. Okay, I've traced out the neckline. Then I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches or 2 inches, which is going to be the length of my band. 2 inches. And bring this line down. Then I can go ahead and remove my fabric from my paper. Then also come down by 2 inches from the place of fold and continue my measurements, measuring 2 inches. After which I'll connect the lines together. Okay, so after marking the neckline from the fabric, I then cut it out. Then I took the measurement of the neck, the client's neck, which is 14 inches. I had to measure on my paper 14 inches, like so. 14 inches divided by 2 is 7 inches, so I added extra half inch for joining allowance. Then on the lower part, the part going to the yoke, the neck of the yoke, I also measured. It was 8 inches, so I added extra inches. I can now cut out this excess. But please, if you have a better way of making a bishop collar, you can use that same method. But this particular method I do use has been working for me. So I'm going to place it now on my fabric. The folded part is also going to be on the folded part of my fabric. Then after cutting it out, I'm going to cut it in 2 pieces so that I'll use one to turn the other. Like I said, if there's an easier way you make your bishop collar, please use same method, so long as the result comes out nice and same. So this particular part I'm cutting now is the one that is going to the neck region of the client. And the lower one goes to the neck line of the dress. So I'm going to be cutting another one to have it in 2 pieces. Okay, I've cut out the 2 pieces. Now I'm going to face them wrong sides to each other. Sorry, right side to right side, so that by the time I finish sewing the neck area, then I can flip it over and then join it to the neckline of the dress. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine now and use maybe 1/4 or 1/2 inch to join the 2 together. Okay, I'm done joining the neckline. I'll go ahead and notch just little to help it relax. Then I will cross stitch. Then to help keep it in place, you can also use your hemming gum to hem it so that it stays in place. I'm going ahead to top stitch on one part, and that part is going to be the one that is going inside the neck. Okay, I'm done joining and top stitching. So you can see, I don't know if you can see the line. I've top stitched and I folded in the side, which I'm going to pull out this way, and we'll have our neck band like this. But this other side, I left a hole somewhere around here, and this hole is where I'm going to be attaching the button loop, so that it doesn't show on the material. It's going to be inside, so I'm going to attach the button loop just like so and sew it inside. Okay, so that after sewing and I turn it, you can only see the loop. But before I attach the loop, I have a 4 inches piece of lace fabric. This other fabric is quite thick, so I don't want to use it for the loop, so I'm using the lace. Now I have 4 inches of lace fabric. I'll fold it on the wrong side and sew. Then after sewing, I'll then turn it in and out. But if you don't want to use a loop, you can actually use a short zip for this, and it's still going to be okay. So let's try and see whichever one that will be much more okay for us. All right, I'm done attaching the button loop to the neck band, so I'll go ahead now to attach the band to the neckline of the dress. Okay, I've pinned the neckline round to the neckline of the fabric. I'll go ahead now and join it. Okay, we are back from joining the neck band to the neck. You can see how it is. So this is our button loop. I'll be attaching a button here which you use to wear it. There's not going to be any zip, so this other part I'll still extend the opening almost to about 7 or 6 inches. All right, so this is our neckline. Now the next thing to do now is to shape the gown, after which we now attach the sleeve. So we are going to use the measurements of the client to shape the gown, attach the sleeve, and our gown is good to go. Okay, now the remaining thing is the sleeve. I'm going to use the paper to draft out the sleeve the way I do mine. There are so many ways people cut out their basic sleeve, but this time around it's going to be a basic sleeve, more like a balloon sleeve kind of, or bishop sleeve, whichever one you want to call it. So now how I cut my basic sleeve: the first line I mark 4 inches from the place of fold, then I come down by 3.5 inches, 6 inches, then my ankle length 12 inches, then the full length of the sleeve, which is 19 inches, but I'll be adding extra 2 inches for the band folding. So I'm going to mark out these lines again so that I can connect them and have them as straight lines. Here I have my 12 inches, which is around the ankle. Here I have my 19 inches, my actual sleeve length, plus 2 extra inches band allowance. So I'm going to mark them out. Remember, from here, from my center of fold to the first point, I had 4 inches. So I'm going to bring it down this way. All right. Now on my 6 inches line, this is 6 inches, this is 3.5. On my 6 inches line is where I usually place the upper round sleeve measurement. Our upper round sleeve is 14 inches. So 14 inches divided by 2 is 7 inches. Then I add 2 extra inches sewing allowance, which is 9 inches. Then on the elbow area, the elbow area is around 13 inches, which when you divide by 2, you have 6.5. I add extra 1.5 inches, giving me 8.5 inches sewing allowance. Then for this particular kind of sleeve, I am going to give it a flake kind of shape towards the hem of the sleeve, because by the time I'll use the elastic to gather it, it will give me a little puff. So let me go ahead and connect these lines together first. Okay, I'll use my curve beginning from the first point, that's the center of fold. I connect to my 3.5 inches line, then I turn my curve this way, pick the line and connect it to where I marked my upper round sleeve, forming an S kind of shape. Then with my straight ruler, I connect my upper round sleeve to my lower round sleeve, which is around my elbow area. I connect it this way. So for the kind of sleeve I am making, I'm going to be measuring 11 inches from my place of fold this way. You can increase it, or I can even make it up to 12.5. 12.5. Remember, this is supposed to be on fold. Then when you open it, you have the full measurements you're working with. So having 12.5 here, by the time I would open it, that should be giving me about 25 inches, which when I gather should give me a little bit of curve around the lower round sleeve area. So however you want, however full you want it to be, you can go ahead and make your sew. So I'm going to connect this, forming a triangle kind of shape. Then I'll also connect it to this point. You can make a curve from this point if you wish. Even if you don't, it still doesn't mind, still doesn't matter, because you're also going to use an elastic band to gather it. Now I think I can go ahead now and cut out the sleeve. So these are the actual measurements of my sleeve. So from here is the actual measurement of my sleeve, but mind you, we added some extra inches for sewing allowance. So I'll cut this out and use it to cut out the main sleeve from the fabric, after which you attach your sleeve to your dress and your dress is ready. So thank you for being with us up to this point, and if you're yet to subscribe to our channel, please click the subscribe button, the red button saying subscribe, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Please do like, share, and leave your comment. Thank you so much. We are still your host, Zob's Wearables Tutorials. So by the time I'm done cutting this out on my fabric, I will gather the tip with elastic.